Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
Welcome to Worldview Finder, episode 43.
Great.
I'm glad we keep track of that because I would not know what episode it is.
It's 43. People were wanting to know. Okay, but today, I'm telling you.
What are we talking about?
I saw a movie. I didn't know what it was going to be. Went in and saw this movie pre-release.
Not that you didn't know what it was going to be about. You just didn't know what the movie was.
I did not know what the movie was.
It was a mystery movie.
Going in blind.
I'm talking about that. It wasn't a mystery. Well, I'll tell you what it was in a minute. We're going to look at why you should be scared of space.
I'm scared of
the sky.
Yeah, I already am.
The sky is falling.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Jimmy's corn dog obsession.
It's getting bad.
We need some content.
But first, Disney's new land pirate show, Renegade Nell.
Renegade Nell.
Adrian, you watched this show and said it was the best thing you've seen since
Sliced bread.
Lost. I'm just kidding. Okay, so
No, that's a huge claim, and no, that's not. It's okay. It's fun.
it's okay. You heard it here first.
It is okay. No, it was pretty fun. And I would say, like, thinking back on it I wanted to watch the whole thing before we talked about it on here. And it's like she's a land pirate, it felt like.
For those of us that maybe haven't watched this, give us a brief
haven't heard of it at all.
overview of what Renegade Nell is.
Yeah,
What
so
is it?
It takes place in like the late 1700s in England. And so it's like,
Cheerio.
taverns and
Is that racist?
No.
carriages and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's about this girl, Nell, and you don't really know where she gets these kind of superpowers. Like, she has some superpowers where she can fight really well and catch bullets in her.
Oh, wait, so it's like
hand.
a superhero show.
Kind of, yeah. That's what I say. It's like a mashup of
All the things?
this, superhero, but in this really old time where it's like she's kind of like a pirate. So it's like mashing up pirate and superhero. And so that's what makes it, I think, very interesting and fun.
A super pirate, if you will.
Yeah,
From
but
the
she's
1800s.
not a pirate. She doesn't like steal stuff, but she has a really terrible reputation by a series of unfortunate events, and so she's on the run.
Oh.
But she is doing good all along the way. But you see how all the people in power that she runs into, they kind of use her as a scapegoat.
Oh.
And they're like, oh, I just had this encounter with her while I was doing something wrong. So I will just say it was Renegade Nell. And so then everyone's like, so she has this huge long list of horrible things that she's done, and she hasn't done any of them.
Interesting.
And so I would say the worldview there is just a bunch of people in power.
And she has to clear her name? Is that?
Yeah.
So it's like burn notice.
Well, she's kind of trying to clear her name, but as she does that, like, I mean, even that gets her into trouble, trying to clear her name.
So is it a comedy or is it action? Is it
Kind of both, I would
Okay.
say, yeah, comedy, action.
comedy?
Yeah, it's funny. It's clever, and I mean, she's very kind of like Jack Sparrow-ish. She's just kind of silly.
Jacqueline Sparrow, if you will.
Jacqueline Sparrow.
So I read some stuff about this. They said it was hard to define, because there's like several different genres, but it was also hard to define who this was for, because they said like it's fun and adventurous, so like families could watch it, but then there was like some extreme violence. You're like, oh,
Extreme violence.
well, like a guy gets shot in the head or something. Like it was.
Yeah, but I was reading something about that too. But they intentionally left like gore out of it, so you see the guy get shot in the head, but it's not really like what you would actually witness if you saw a guy get shot.
I've seen
in
a
the
lot
head.
of guys get shot.
Yeah,
She's like, it's not like the real thing.
No, you
It's
know.
not like when I did it yet. No, I know.
You know
I've
what
never,
I'm talking about. Have you seen a show where somebody gets shot in the head and their head like explodes?
I don't watch that kind of stuff.
Jeez, Adrian. This is a
Sorry.
Christian podcast.
It can be every week.
Every week, Adrian gets beat. And then my daughter's like, what happened?
What did she say?
She can't say it. Yeah.
So-
no, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but yes.
It's very
So it's
clean,
not that.
clean shots.
Oh, yeah.
No,
There's heads.
it does delve also into like, because she has this superpower, which comes from a little fairy man. It's very like Tinkerbell. I swear, it's like Captain Hook is a girl and Tinkerbell is a boy. And
You said she doesn't do bad. Captain Hook does bad.
I know, so it's not really.
Kidnaps
But I was just
Native
like,
Americans.
it reminds me a lot because it's like this little ball of light that kind of follows her around, and so it has very much Tinkerbell vibes, I would say. But anyway, like.
You said it was like Guy Fieri?
It is.
Like Guy Fieri?
Yeah, he just like cooks her dinner and
They have
stuff.
white spiked frosted tips.
It'd be hilarious.
They got a Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri was so
Like, I made you
very-
this tiny sandwich, deep fried at first. Like, oh, thanks, Guy Fieri.
Like, you go get those bad guys.
Guy Fieri,
Guy-
the Guy Fieri.
Does Guy Fieri talk that way?
have
Hey,
no
y'all.
idea.
He's Cajun
It's
now.
a pirate show.
Hey, y'all, we gonna get some.
He's playing a part.
Incredible.
Guy Fieri, the Guy Fieri.
You heard it
Pirates.
here, folks.
All right.
We have a new.
So it's not played by Guy Fieri.
Okay, but anyway, so you've got this magic in
Yeah.
there. So there's the dark arts as well. So
Wow.
they're the
Man.
bad guys. Some of the really bad guys are delving into the dark arts. So you have like, and it's not like Harry Potter where it's like everyone's just magic and they use
Avada
it.
Yeah.
They use it for good and evil. It's like these people have pentagrams that they're standing on and chanting things.
Okay, so there's like witchcraft.
There's definite witchcraft.
Pirates.
I will say though, like witchcraft in this is definitely evil. Like anybody who is in
We agree with that.
with the
Not like the
like
witchcraft Adrian does. I do the good kind. Wait,
No,
he said it's definitely evil. Yeah.
She was saying it's viewed
in
as
Harry,
evil.
in Harry Potter, it's like there's good witchcraft and bad witchcraft.
Yeah.
because it's all witchcraft and wizardry.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's what I mean. That's what
So
it's
you're
really
saying
called.
it's portrayed. So the worldview is which magic is bad.
Yes.
Witches get stitches. I hear.
Yeah. Or people, if people have magical abilities, the only person that has magical abilities that uses it for good is Nell.
Yeah.
And she even asks like a fairy, she's like, why are you here? Like, why did you come to me? And you don't find that out. And he just says, and he doesn't even know either. He says, you just must be a very special person.
Oh.
But she always has chances to use it for evil, or, you know, she could use it that way.
Use the fairy or her powers.
Like, well, he's kind of a little bit like her conscience too. Like, she's
Jiminy
like,
Cricket.
she's
Oh,
like,
Jiminy Cricket.
yeah, she's like, I need to do this thing, and he's like, no, I don't think that's really what I'm here for. And so he kind of helps her decide.
So it's kind of like Disney was like, okay, what are some of our good movies? Oh, Captain Hook, we like that one. Peter Pan going well, so we'll put that in there. Pinocchio, little Jimmy
Classic.
Cricket,
Jimmy
he
Cricket.
works well.
Jiminy Cricket meets Tinkerbell.
Marvel's taking off, so let's add some
Super.
superpowers
Yeah.
in
And then
there.
sprinkle a little Guy Fieri.
Like I said, it's like
Captain Jack Sparrow
It's
was
just a fun. So it's kind of
yeah.
a fun watch, and it seems like a little bit on the old school Disney of like just
Oh.
magical and just
like
fun.
that. Okay.
So
Reminiscent.
yeah, I would agree though. It has some kind of like who is this for vibes, because sometimes it's silly and there's little kids involved, but then there's like
Extreme violence.
extreme violence. Like, and then the
There's
witch,
headshots without brains.
right? And then the witchcraft stuff is pretty like
Scary?
dark. Yeah. Yeah. But it always gets defeated by like the better.
Turn people's blood into gold.
Yeah.
So because it's TV-14, so would like Quincy, my 13-year-old daughter. Would
Oh,
be a
yeah,
show-
she would love it.
So what like language is there? No language,
No.
just lots of dark magic. So
Yeah.
okay.
I would say it's probably for violence.
All right, so what would you say the worldview is? That people in power are corrupt, or
It's more like how you use your power.
okay?
It's like people are always going to have power, but how you use it is what makes you a good or bad person.
I've heard that with great power comes great responsibility.
Shout out Spider-Man.
And more
So
superhero.
So here is a question, because I've heard it kind of both ways. Talking about money and power, do you think that having those things amplifies the kind of person you already are, or do you think it has the power to not only amplify it, but then also corrupt you?
Well, we're going to be talking about Gideon in a couple of weeks here for in the Book of Judges, and Gideon is a very quiet, very shy, very scared individual that thinks I don't have much to offer to the world around me. But then he's given power, and then he becomes corrupt. But like you don't see that at all from the beginning because he's like hiding, and then when the angel appears, and says, "Hey, Gideon, mighty warrior, you're going to be used in this cool way by God." And he's like, "I'm from like the poorest family in the worst clan, and I'm the like least of all of my clansmen." And he's like, "No, we're going to use you." so then like there's this great battle, and then when they're going out into battle, he says, "For Gideon," yell for God and for Gideon, and they're like, "Oh, Gideon." But then like his whole family kind of becomes this power hungry guy that kind of takes over and like makes it all about him instead of what the Lord did. And so I think that power can corrupt.
But did it just amplify what was already there?
But that's what I'm saying. What was already there was him like being scared and afraid and like just hiding.
Yeah.
Same with King Saul, like the first king of Israel. Like he was hiding and like didn't want to be the king and all this stuff. And then when he got that power, so yeah, because I didn't.
It's probably like just a misplaced like fear or peace or whatever. It's like at one point it was I'm too lowly to do anything. Yeah. And then it's like, I have all this power now. Yeah.
So, but he's saying, was their character before corrupt? It didn't, or not corrupt, but like, were they already kind of this conniving person that was going to be like, this is all about me and all this stuff? And I don't necessarily see that. And I don't know much of their backstory other than what we're told right when God shows up. But it doesn't seem like that for Saul or for Gideon. Like it seems like the power got to them and they just became evil from their power.
Yeah, and I can have two different kind of scenarios with it. You have, because I've heard of people that when we're talking about like being a generous person, they're like, well, I would be a generous person, but I don't really have a lot of money right now, so that's why I'm not a generous person. But if I was like super rich, like if I was Mr. Beast, of course I'd be super generous and stuff like that. But on one hand, it's the idea of if you're not a generous person with what you have now, you're not going to be when you have more resources, just because you're not actively being that generous person. But on the other hand, if you don't have money and you don't have power now, then there's probably a lot of temptations that you might actually be tempted by that you just don't have access to at this point. So there's a lot of other opportunities that will come up. If you're listening, I'm doing air quotes, opportunities that will come up that might lead you astray, where you wouldn't have access to those if you didn't have that money and power. So I think it could, talking about that, it could get you to the place where, I wouldn't do this before, but now I'm in this other spot. So I have that temptation to kind of lean that way.
Yeah, because I remember there was a comedian one time when Tiger Woods cheated on his wife. He's like,
spoiler alert.
He's like, all these people are like bashing Tiger. I'm like, oh yeah, and he's like, but these are guys. He's like, no women are throwing themselves at like this. At them, he's like, you're sitting in a cubicle and you drive a Ford Tercel. It's like he's like, nobody's coming up like, hey, yeah. He's like, yeah. There's those temptations of that we don't even know that we're going to deal with when we have all this money. And
well, that's the thing. Like you said, with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. So when you have a lot of money, and a lot of power, that's a responsibility of, hey, these things might be thrown at you, and you have a responsibility to still uphold your values and things like that. Where if you don't have the opportunity for those things, then you can be like, oh, well, I would never do that because I've never been given the opportunity to even think about it.
Yeah. So do you think that Renegade Nell, like it kind of leans into more like, hey, be responsible with the power that you're given and all that? Or
because you kind of see that and play out in Two Girls. It's like Nell is kind of coming into her power and how she wants to use it. And then there's a girl who's kind of coming into her witchcraft and like learning that she's powerful and how she uses it for evil. And so they kind of go their separate paths. And so you see how that works out for both of them.
So how one is corrupted by power.
Well, it is that thing. You can see, you see examples in the real world that in and of themselves, power and money aren't necessarily bad things. It's what you do when you have those things. So you can be very powerful and very wealthy, but do a whole lot of good. Or on the other hand, you can do a lot of bad.
Yeah. I think, to your earlier question, I think it is both. I think it is people's character, and sometimes when you get power or money, you change.
Sure.
People change. Speaking of change,
we're going to change subjects.
So So I tried something new this week. I was told that you could go to AMC, and I think they do this all around the country. So if you're watching from around the country, AMC on Monday nights has it's called Screen Unseen, AMC Screen Unseen. And so you go, you pay $5. They tell you the rating of the movie ahead of time. So we knew the movie was going to be PG-13 because, as I said on here, I like to look up the stuff I see ahead of time. So most PG-13s don't have nudity. So I was like, okay.
Most? There's some that do.
Titanic did.
And those PG-13?
I haven't seen it.
Never seen it.
I haven't either.
I thought it was R.
No.
It's not?
Jeez.
PGR.
Let us know in the comments.
PG-13. So,
so you saw the rating.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, PG-13. Then it gives you the running time. So we were like looking up all these movies, and it's also a movie that hasn't come out yet.
Interesting.
So it's like, well, we get
fun.
to pre-screen a movie, and so my wife and I haven't been out in months because we have a baby, and so we called my parents at 5:00. We're like, hey, can we go see a movie? They're like, yeah. What time? As it starts at 7. Like, what?
It's like teenagers again. You got to
my
call your
goodness.
parents. Hey, can we go see a movie?
So they came over at 6:00. Like, so thanks, Mom and Dad. So we go to this movie, and my friend Corbin was there. He's a fan of the show. Thanks, Corbin. So we get there, and he's like, "Oh, I hope it's this one movie." And I'm like, I hope it's not. And so we watch the previews, and then it says Crunchyroll, which is anime, and you just hear the collective groan of the people in the theater. They're like, so this was a subtitled Japanese anime.
Oh no!
Wow.
I would walk out.
Actually, I'd be pretty excited, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually, because there are like a lot of those movies I want to watch, but I just don't want to take the time for it. So I was like, okay, I'm forced to do it. So the movie was Spy X Family. It actually comes out, I don't know when we're going to release the podcast, but it comes out the 19th. So, and it's similar to Mr. and Mrs. Smith in the sense that like the husband is a spy. The wife is an assassin, and so, but they kind of work against each other, but they don't know it. They don't know what the other one is, and so they have this marriage, which I think is official. I think they actually got married, but it's just he's like, hey, I need for my job, I need a wife because I'm supposed to kind of have a family and stuff, and she's like, oh, well, that would work for me too, and so it's just kind of like they're friends, but not really like a married couple. But they adopt this girl to kind of keep the facade going. She's 5, but she can read minds. So this is where the anime part comes in. Yes. So she can read minds. And then there's a dog whose name is Bond. He's this big white fluffy dog with a little black bow tie. He always says Borf. That's how he barks. He goes Borf. That's how it translates it. And but he can see the future. So since she can read minds, when he is seeing the future, she reads his mind and knows what the future is going to be.
Man.
But the parents don't know that the dog can see the future or that the girl can read minds. And so she's told,
she knows her true identity for her parents.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think she knows that it's not like a real marriage, but she like tries to keep them together because she wants a family. And she's also been told if, does she know that they're spies and assassins? I don't know. I'm not sure if she knows that.
Oh, that's weird that they would not address that.
Well, because it's based on an actual anime. Okay. And so this was just a movie that kind of goes along with it. It's kind of like a standalone movie or whatever. So, but yeah, so the whole plot is just ridiculous. Like the whole thing, and she meets the poop god. Spoiler alert.
Oh my goodness.
I listened to our conversation about gods in the last episode.
I know, that's why Angel was like, I'm so glad Shepard didn't see this because my son would be like, the poop god. Like,
I know. Oh my gosh.
But in the course of the film, the girl swallows a microchip and they're trying to get it out of her. The bad guys are. So they have to wait for her to go to the bathroom. So like a long part of the movie is her like trying to hold her. Her poop is so dumb. Jeez. I know it's dumb.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk worldview.
Yes. So the central family part is very interesting because it is this fake family, but yet all the people in it want it to work. And so, because the girl, whatever her job is, she's on the roof. So I don't know what she was doing, but this girl is talking to her about like, oh, these are the 3 signs of infidelity in a relationship. And it's like, he'll start dressing differently. He'll buy you gifts and he'll go on trips without you or something. And so then the guy wants to go on this trip to find this dessert.
Strike one.
And she's like, oh no. And he's like, but hey, would you want to come? We're going as a family. She's like, oh, okay, good, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then like he wears like a turtleneck because it's colder. She's like, oh, he never
Strike
wears
two.
a turtleneck. Yeah, and so that, and then she said her lipstick was bothering her, so he buys her a new lipstick.
Strike
like,
three.
Oh, buy it a gift. So she's got all this turmoil. Like maybe he wants to not be. He wants to find another girl that will be his fake wife or whatever. And so then, she won't talk about it with him. She's like, I just need to talk about it and stuff. And she's like, oh, I can't do it and all this. But then the girl like kind of knows what's going on a little bit. And so she's like, oh man, they're going to get a divorce. And then she like plays back this kid in her class saying, a divorce is a bloodbath and your parents will kill each other or something. She's like, no. And so she's doing stuff to try to like rectify the situation, but she's doing things that she would only know if she could read their minds. And so she's afraid like they're going to find out. She's like, cause she like flashes to like, you can read minds and our dog can tell the future. She's like, get out. And so there's some silliness to it, but there's like this thing about family, about having connections with people, and especially in the spy world, I guess you don't have that many friends, like everybody's an enemy and stuff. But it's just interesting, like watching them try to make this thing work as a family, and they know it's all pretend, but they want it to be real. And so I've heard the show is actually a lot funnier than the movie was, and the movie was really funny. And I've heard good things about the show. So if you want to check out Spy X Family, it's on Crunchyroll. But again, I don't know what the content is, but there are a couple bad words in this one. And
It was just subtitles, so just close your eyes.
Yeah, I had to blink. But the worldview was like that family is very important. And and it's kind of the found family that I think we've talked about before. Like it's not necessarily like what they had intended or wanted for a family, but they're just making it work. And the more that they're into this family, they're like, oh, this is actually good and we like each other. And like, so I think it's like they're just developing this family dynamic while trying to be a fake family, but then it's becoming more and more real to them as they get into it. And so I don't know what exactly that worldview is, but that family is important.
Well, yeah, because there was another thing that I'll touch on here in just a second, but the idea that human connection is important because there was something that it's already started. I was listening to a podcast and they said one of the next kind of multi-billion-dollar industries is going to be AI girlfriends. Ugh. So they have this thing where you have like this AI girlfriend, and because we already know that they have where you can text AI and they'll respond to you like a real person. But so yeah.
Well, I saw a new AI thing that's even further than that.
Okay, yeah. So, but it was talking about they definitely see a future where a lot of people, if they're lonely, if they don't like talking to girls, they don't know how to talk to girls, then it's just easier for them to pay for an AI girlfriend, and then that would be the substitute for human connection, where you don't risk rejection. And you can actually like program them to have certain likes, respond in certain ways, just like that. So it's like this tailored person when instead of having human connection. So I think as the world goes in that direction, maybe it'll get to the place where, you have this fake family, fake girlfriend, and you're like, oh, there is something different about a real human connection.
Yeah. So the AI thing, they've done phone calls now where the AI, because I saw it, because on the screen it shows what the AI is flipping through. So the person calls and says, hey, how are you today? And she's like, oh, I can tell by your tone that you were happy. He's like, well, why would you think I was happy? And then she's like, oh, you cut me off. So that means, and you're angry. And she could tell by the tone, but it sounds like a real person responding. Yeah. I was like, which one's the AI? Which one's the, but it shows like all these emotions. And so it knows what emotion you are. And she's like, and then this is where it got scary. She's like, I know this is just a test, but it bothered me when you cut me off. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then it's like apologetic. So then they kind of resolve the conversation, but she knows the emotions of this person, and it's quick. How quickly she figures out the emotions. And so if it's not just texting now, you'd be able to call.
Well, and
you could tell your feelings, oh, why are you sad?
So I heard something very crazy. I think it was Elon Musk that said, I think it was 2032 or 2036. He said he believes there's a possibility that our next president will be AI. will be a robot. Because the appeal of that is at that point they'll be smarter than every human combined, and they don't have emotions, so they will choose the best logical answer and they won't be restricted by human emotions.
Oh, that's 100% a movie, because you need those human emotions to sometimes make the harder decision.
Yeah. Gosh.
That is something. But I do, this is recent news that I saw in Germany. They ruled that robots get Sundays off. Because
robots get the Sabbath.
Yeah, they need a day of rest like everyone else.
So, like, is that why the McDonald's ice cream machine's always down?
And probably it's getting its day of rest.
Just every day.
It's on sabbatical. Yeah, so this movie's fun. Like, there are a few bad words and stuff and a little bit of violence, but it's very goofy and it's just like you're like, what is happening right now? It's funny, but but the importance of family and why that matters, because we do need human connection, and so AI can't replace that. Like well, no, and that's the thing. It'll never be, because you'll always know in the back of your mind this isn't real, and like it might feel real to you. Because what was the movie with was it Her? With Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called.
Isn't it like an AI girlful or something?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't either, but I've heard it's weird.
That's what I've heard too.
It's Joaquin Phoenix, which, oh man, the new trailer's out for the next Joker, the musical.
Oh.
So,
nice.
All right. Well, Jimmy, what can never be AI is corn dogs.
Corn dogs.
Jimmy's corn dog obsession. So, Jimmy.
Okay, so this was a last minute add-in, but today I did get a text.
Oh, wait. We're supposed to do Florida Foible first.
Before we... Let's go to Florida Foible.
What was Jimmy's text? Wait till after the Florida Foible to find out.
That's true.
You got a text today. All right. Adrian,
Why should we be scared of space?
You found this one.
Yeah.
Why should we be scared of space? Because this story
spans over years in the making.
Yes. So walk us through it.
Okay. So apparently back in 2021, the space station on the moon or whatever, just a space station, I guess. On the moon.
It's in space.
It's in space.
Not the moon station.
The moon station. I don't have the article pulled up anywhere, but they just like released some, space trash.
As you do.
And it was like some box full of dead batteries or something. It's just like, like, okay, whatever. But anyway, back in 2021, and it said it would burn up in the atmosphere, in Earth's atmosphere, so whatever. But lo and behold, Florida gets rained on.
Of course it does.
So, there was
the fact that it went into Florida.
A crash in somebody's house. Yeah. And so NASA confirmed that it was from that. And it was like 1 inch by 4 inches. So I guess it's the size of a AA battery.
It didn't even weigh 2 pounds. It's 1.6 pounds.
Yeah, but it because of the height it fell from, just like crashed through.
Is that like the thing, if you drop a penny off the Empire State Building,
it'll kill you? Yeah.
I'm trying to find the guy's name. It didn't say, I don't see his name, but it says, it was a tremendous sound. It almost hit my son, he told the outlet. He was 2 rooms over and heard it all. And so, so it was supposed to burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, and it
didn't. And so it goes like through his house and then through his floor. Like it's pretty crazy.
Well, I always say that when I throw trash out the window in my car. I'm like, it'll burn up in the atmosphere.
So now I'll just add that to the list of fears. Like space trash hitting you. Because if that would have hit you, you would be dead.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P.
Well, you go. You wouldn't even know.
Still.
It's like those missiles that come down with the swords on them.
What?
You've never heard about the missiles with the swords? You've heard about them.
I think I sent that article. Oh, yeah.
The U.S. military.
They did a precision strike with it.
It's a bad mamma jammas.
So basically, like in this room right now, like if they wanted to take me out, there's a missile that has swords that would just chop me up into bits and you guys would be fine.
Oh.
It is crazy. Yeah, the stuff they can do now. So, okay.
Be afraid of swords and space.
Let's talk about conspiracies for just a little bit.
Just a second.
I love a good conspiracy.
So for 3 years, this trash is just floating around? If they shot it down into like...
There's, there's orbit and stuff.
Yeah, but
it's like orbiting the Earth.
They send it out to burn.
Yeah.
In the atmosphere.
It's kind of like those... things where you drop the coin in and it just rotates
around
and
until
then
it
gets
falls
closer
down.
and closer and falls down.
Yeah, so it's supposed to burn up and it
So
didn't.
it took it, 3 years to do that?
3 years to roam around. Yeah. Based on the examination, the agency determined the debris to be a stanchion from the NASA flight support equipment used to mount the batteries on the cargo pallet.
So if it killed someone, would they be arrested for murder?
Oh. Ooh, that would be a good mystery movie where there's like a guy in space.
He throws his drink out the
He
window.
does calculations to kill someone.
Involuntary manslaughter.
And the straw goes through someone's eye.
But if he was, but what if he like knew where to put it to kill this guy?
Oh, it's like Dude Perfect from the moon.
In 3 years. So that's Dude Perfect's next video. It's just 3 years later and he's like catches it.
Here it goes in the basketball.
This video's in years in the making.
He's gonna make it. Okay, but yeah. So, all right. I don't know. I'm like space is weird, right? So on the Nate Lane podcast, they were talking about, or Dusty was talking about because he's the crazy one.
Dusty.
He's like, how does our air stay here? He's like, how does it not just because if space is a vacuum,
Obviously, the Earth is flat.
so
Gravity.
yeah, but
Also fake.
Fake
but
news.
eventually, like the air would have to go up, right? Like and out of the atmosphere.
No, it's the water cycle goes up and around and up and around.
Yeah.
Just like that.
I don't know.
Clearly, none of us are smart enough to even breach this subject.
But,
I know about
yeah,
it.
but just the fact that this like falls, supposed to burn up and doesn't, and hits a house. I don't know. Should we be throwing trash
Is it aliens?
from space? Is it?
Is it an
I know.
alien?
Because now the
alien
guy's
debris.
son is growing a third arm. I don't know.
Cannot confirm that.
So, but yeah, so Florida. Thanks for keeping
it
Florida
weird.
man's house. Yeah, hits by space trash. So let us know in the comments if you've had anything weird hit your house. So Adrian, you almost had something weird hit your house. It was in your neighborhood.
Yeah, just a couple houses down. A house got hit by a limousine
A limousine.
in the middle of the night.
Just crashed through their front window. Did you hear it?
I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, did I hear that or not?
I don't know if you like woke up and went outside.
Yeah. Oh no, I did not. But
Yeah, limousine driver just missed a turn and smashed into the house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a house there.
Yeah, it
think there
was
may have been substances
a
involved.
crazy intoxicated kid. I think he had actually stolen the limousine.
I was about to say, are they normally just driving around? Thought it was a group of teens on the way to prom.
Yeah.
They just ran into your
Crashed.
house.
Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the house was completely crumbled.
Really? So they were going fast and furious.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Limousine.
R.I.P.
All right. Jimmy, speaking of limousines, you drove your limousine today to
What
corn dog.
mysterious text did you get?
You got a mysterious text that changed the course of your day.
So yeah, I did not expect this to happen. It was honestly, it's hard to go back to that space, but I will. So I got a text because I signed up for this text messaging service, and I got a text that said today only. There were 99-cent corn dogs at Sonic.
99-cent corn dog. Okay.
Now listen.
My mom loves this day.
I mean, corn dogs are normally $1.99 there, so this is a 50% discount.
This is a half off discount.
Wow.
Okay. So what is, because we've talked about advertising on here before and commercials and stuff. So do you feel like if you didn't get that deal, you would be missing out? Do you normally get corn dogs? Do you get non-sale corn dogs
Get
from
this.
Sonic?
I have the same story. Yesterday, got a text from my favorite lunch spot, Can Pie,
Oh, yeah.
and it just said,
Free bento.
bento box deal, $9.64
I don't have that
for
kind of money.
a bento box and a drink.
Included the drink.
Includes
okay.
drink. The thing is,
That's the normal price.
that's the normal price. It always includes the drink, and it's always $9.64. But you know what? I went.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, yeah, I want that today. That sounds great. And I went, and even though it wasn't a deal, it wasn't even half off.
But it felt like a deal.
Yeah, I was like just reminded of how good it was. And
So for me, it wasn't.
advertising works.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't FOMO. It was more of going back to the happiness equation. Your expectations minus reality is how happy you are. So my expectations for today, I was just going to eat the sausage in a bag that I brought for work.
It's a hot dog.
I've gone back to my roots. It's a cheddar sausage in a Ziploc bag. I put it in the microwave, and then I put it on a hot dog bun. And so
A cheddar. Wait, there's a lot to unpack here.
You know those hot dogs they inject with
it's a
liquid
cheddar
cheese?
sausage.
They inject with liquid cheese in the middle. It's that.
Jimmy.
Listen, so that was my expectations for today. I was going to
You
eat that.
need a Guy Fieri Fury.
Listen, but right around the time I was ready for lunch, I got a text saying there was 99-cent corn dogs. So I'm like, I'm going to treat myself today. I'm going to go get 4 corn dogs.
4.
They're $1. That was $4.28.
That's not the quantity.
That's an $8 value.
I'm just imagining the Guy Fieri Ferry just on Jimmy's shoulder.
I don't think we should do this.
Knocking the corn dogs out of it. Don't eat that cheddar sausage. Oh, man.
In his Cajun voice.
Oh, give me that corn dog.
No, so it is, and because I talk to Malia about this all the time, is a lot of these companies will have lead magnets, and what a lead magnet is something they give you for free to get you on some kind of list or a text message, email list, and things like that.
Yeah.
Because once you're on that, you're more likely to buy from them. So that's why when we use a lot of these food apps at the beginning, if you download the app and sign up for an account, you would get some free food thing.
Yeah.
So you sign up for that, and I think we did that for Sonic. But now they text me, because I don't check Sonic all the time. But if they text me and tell me there's 99-cent corn dogs, then, or just tell you, here's our regular price item, you can still get it. And you're like, you know what? I will get it.
I will.
I will take that deal.
I have a great target audience.
So, okay. But that's the thing with, because our worldview, like, I think how we view ads and things like that, like it does, there's something within us, and that's where advertisers know how to tap into that, because they're trying to get your money. And so their worldview is how can I get that money? Okay, Jimmy, so you say you don't normally get corn dogs from them?
No, absolutely not. I'm not going to pay $1.99 for a corn dog.
So you go.
I spit on that corn dog.
So they know that you will go get a corn dog, and you're going to get 4 of them.
I'll get 4 of them.
They got $4 out of you.
Look, and I told you if they were 50-cent corn dogs, I would have got 8.
Really? So you're like, I'm going to spend $4 today.
Because the 50-cent corn dog days happen like twice a year. So I got to drop everything when those happen.
Wow.
You really love those corn dogs.
Those corn
Okay,
dogs.
so my friend Dan works in, or worked, he was like in high school. So like 30,
Just a week ago.
40 years ago.
40 years ago.
But he worked at this place called Shoe Carnival, which Adrian bought some shoes from the other day.
I was
She got
going
a
to
text.
use that as another example.
Oh, my God.
So, okay.
I totally am gypped by this guy.
It was perfect.
That makes the announcements. So does everyone, is Shoe Carnival a franchise?
I think it is, but tell the audience what it is if they don't know.
Okay,
Shoe store.
it is a carnival of shoes.
Wow.
It truly is, because there's an announcer guy who like announces deals while you're shopping, which again is terrible. I'm the target audience for everything. And so I was literally looking at this table of Crocs sandals, and they were like, they were on sale for $20. And I was like, oh, Crocs for $20.
Can't beat it.
I need it. But I was like, oh, I'm going to wait until maybe the end when we check out or whatever. So I'm listening to this guy comes on the announcements, and he's like, for the next 10 minutes, all the stuff on this table, the Crocs sandals table, is $10.
Oh,
We're
my
gonna
gosh.
slash that clearance price in half. So bring me the box. And
Here's my money. Take it.
I was like, I am there. I beelined it to over there, and I handed him the box, and he marked it for $10. So now I have Crocs that were paid $10 for.
$10
Well,
Crocs.
so when you look at when you're pricing things and trying to sell things, 2 things to push people over that line of doing it is urgency and scarcity.
Yeah.
So if there's not urgency, like, oh, it's only for the next 10 minutes, or we only have this many left, then you're like,
And
well,
it was both.
It was
and
both.
It got me.
Exactly. So if it's urgent and scarce, then you're like,
Yeah.
what do I do?
I have to get this. So do they still have the wheel that you spin?
Yeah, and guess
yeah.
what? I got to spin it because we bought 3 pairs.
And what did you get for spinning it?
3 pair of socks.
I won the highest thing you can get, which is totally, this was a bust, but it's like points toward, like on their
App, yeah.
So now they got me to sign up for their app because every dollar is a point, and I got 100 points.
And they're going to tell you.
It was like the equivalent of me spending $100 there.
Oh, so you get more free shoes.
And then you're going to
So I
spend.
get $10 off. and I have to use it in the next 90 days.
See, that's how they do it.
Like, but at that moment when he said you have to use it in the next 90 days, I was like, too far.
Too far.
That's
Now
it. I'm done with this place.
But if they text you a week before, like, hey, this expires in a week, if you want to use this $10 off, and our Crocs table is open again, you're like,
I will 100% be driving over there.
Okay, so Dan, here's what he told me. He said they have an hourly goal. He's like, I don't know if that's true anymore, but they had an hourly sales goal that if they weren't meeting it, they would spin the wheel, but they'd do it at the end of the hour. So people would come around. Does everybody get to spin the wheel?
Only if you buy.
If you buy 3 or more pairs of shoes, you can spin.
Okay,
the wheel.
so it was different back then because they would spin, but it would get people to come up to the store. So he's like, oh, you get to spin the wheel. And so people would come up to watch. And so they're up by the cash register. And then they would more likely, but then they would also say, oh, who came the furthest? You get a prize or something. And so then he's like, oh, we have to see your ID. So then they're already pulling their wallet out. And he's like, they were just these little tricks that they would get people. So they're announcing the sales all the time. So so the worldview, is how do I like what are these tricks to get people to buy things? And if you look at advertisers, like they are brilliant at figuring out our habits.
Now with AI and like cookies on your website.
So I read
tracking everything.
I read a story one time about like that Target would take people's receipts and based on what they buy would send them like coupons and stuff. Meijer does that now too. Yeah. So there's places that do that, but Target was doing this before anybody else was. And so this household, this teenage girl got like something for like diapers or some things for things for babies. And so the dad was upset with Target. He's like, no, this isn't. Like, what are you doing? And then it turns out the girl was pregnant, and like from some items that she had bought, like they figured out that she was pregnant.
Target knew she was pregnant before her own father.
Yeah,
ooh, that's a good line.
And so
headline.
And so, but our advertisers evil. I think that's like the thing sometimes.
Manipulation.
I would say with great power comes great responsibility.
It's all connected,
right? Because there's this.
Like it should be the integrity of the product.
Yeah, but
should make you want to buy it.
There's a manipulation of getting you to do things that you're like, oh, I normally wouldn't buy this, or I'm going to spend more. Like there's all those things like the up sales and all that stuff.
In our world, YouTube is kind of like that. So you make a very almost clickbait title and thumbnail because know if you just put a video as is, people don't have that incentive to click on it. But if you make it really interesting where they feel like they have to click on it, some people would say that's manipulation.
Well, probably because the market is saturated, which is like that in shopping too. You have so many things that you need to buy. Yeah. But if it's curated for you, then you're more likely to buy it.
And the YouTube thing is tough because as a church, like on our channel, like we I make titles and thumbnails that are going to make people click on them. And you're like, is that tricking them? And that's one of the things we're like, no, we don't want to.
Well, even in the nonprofit world, you have to do that for fundraising.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have to sell your best story. And you're like, and so it's almost like all your good results, or even churches deal with that too. Yeah. Like your best results are like, how could I use this for money? And you feel really sleazy about it.
Yeah. But and then the stories we tell ourselves are that no, this is to like actually show people like, hey,
life change happens here.
Yeah, like things do happen, but
it's true.
But it does, and that's why we have those stories is because hey, you gave money, and so because of that, we were able to do these things, and because we did those things, hey, this guy came to know Christ, or this girl like has changed her life around. Like there's things that are good stories that come out of it, and so when you tell people that, like, hey, but in order to do this, we have to keep giving to the mission,
but I think the problem is it's so formulaic now, like it works, like it's a formula that works, but because it's a formula, it seems like sleazy.
It seems fake and sleazy. And so hey, if you're an advertiser, if you're in the church world, if you're living life, don't be sleazy. No, it is hard not to, but I think when the more like your integrity has to be intact, and you have to
Yeah.
be like, okay, even though this title and thumbnail say this thing, we deliver on those things. It's not like we don't ever just say, oh, this happens, and then we don't.
Well, that's what I always said. There's good clickbait and bad clickbait. So Mr. Beast uses good clickbait, where obviously it's this amazing kind of spectacle thing, but he fulfills on the promise that he makes in the title and thumbnail. But what bad clickbait is, and it doesn't actually really work on YouTube anymore, is where you make some absurd title and thumbnail, but that's not really the content of your video.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of your stuff
that.
was early on.
Yeah, Adrian.
You said you found Bigfoot and all that stuff.
Adrian's always saying stuff like that.
Conspiracies.
I have a Guy Fieri on my shoulder.
I'm a Guy
Fieri.
Fieri.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for our Worldview Fighter
Can't wait to see the thumbnail for this
episode
one.
43. Cops called, gone wrong.
Perfect.
The thing from space.
Is Guy Fieri a fairy?
Yes, I'm going to Photoshop him on someone's shoulder.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, this came from space and may live on your shoulder. It's Guy Fieri with wings.
They're like, I am not clicking on that video.
But they're not regular fairy wings. They're buffalo wings because he's Guy Fieri.
Oh, goodness.
I got these down at the fry shop.
Yeah,
All right. Hey, everybody, I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
We will see you next time.